Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session. Apologies for being a few minutes late. It is Thursday the 30th of May 2024. My name's Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire here in the UK. Our stamp set of the week that we have been using at Coffee and Card is this one here. As you can see, it's called Hearts and Hugs and it features 4 cute animal images. One, hello Fran, one with 2 walruses cuddled up together, 2 badgers having a hug, then we have this cute little hamster, and then we have the mouse. And at Coffee and Card on Tuesday, Caroline asked me how we could mirror image this so you had 2 facing each other. And I didn't have any supplies there, like a Stamparatus that I would normally use. So I showed her how to create that effect. So I thought I would do that with you today for those that maybe haven't tried this technique, or you don't have any specialist equipment to do it. So we're going to use this cute little mouse, and I'm going to use this die cut, and I'm going to pop these little holes out because otherwise that will annoy me, she says. There they are. And I'm hoping that this little mouse will fit, so I'm going to stamp the mouse and do a mirror image as well, so that I've got 2 mice facing each other. So I'm just taking out those little holes. So I hope everybody is well. Weather here today has been very typical of our recent weather, which is 1 minute bright sunshine and then the next minute a complete downpour. And true to form, it's done that in the last hour and a half as well. So whether we're set up for that tomorrow, I have no idea. But it's not cold. That's some consolation, isn't it? So this was the card that I made on Monday for our live crafting session. Sorry, that's a little bit high, isn't it? And I used the centres of the stamps. So if you look at the rubber stamps here, these centres, I just pop these centres out, they're already cut for you, and pop them onto a block to create this background of, it could be a stone wall, it could be a pathway, it could be whatever you want it to be. It would make good giraffe patterns, camouflage, you could do it in different greens and browns, all sorts of things. So let's grab that cute little mouse and pop him or her onto a block like so. So obviously if you just stamp one next to each other, they're both facing the same direction. So what you need is a surface that is non-porous, so that the ink stays on the surface while you can then transfer it across. I expect you've done this many a time, Fran. So a great thing to use is a silicone mat. Now you may have one in your kitchen. This is a Stampin' Up silicone mat. It's non-stick effectively, so you can use it with glue and things like that, and literally it just rubs off. Any type of glue or adhesive will just rub off. You can see this is quite well stained from previous use. And if you haven't got a silicone mat to hand, what you can use is some of the packaging, for example, out of a stamp set. So let's see. Yeah, so when you get the stamps, they're on this thick plastic sheet, and then it's got a thin plastic sheet on top. You could use either of those. In preference, I would use the thick one because it's going to be more stable than the thin one. And basically what we want is a mechanism for transferring the image across, a bit like you used to do with tracing paper when you were tracing things. You could actually use vellum. I think that would also work, or basically any piece of plastic. So you could use, if you've got a cellophane bag, even something like this, the bag that a block comes in a kit, you could use that. As long as it's flat and you can pop it onto your surface and it's non-porous, so when you stamp or anything on it, the ink will stay on there. Okay, so let's give this a go. I've seen one I've missed. Here's one I missed earlier. Hi Caroline. So I've got my little mouse here, and what I'm going to do is stamp the mouse onto here first, and then I'm going to take my piece of die cut that I want it to go onto, turn it over and press it onto the surface so that the ink that was on there will be transferred onto there, and then when I lift that up it will be reversed. It's a bit like a Blue Peter moment, isn't it? So this is a silica mat, and what I do like to do is I just want to see, I would normally use 2 ink pads, a lighter and a slightly darker one. So I'm just going to test these out and see. That is my espresso, and this is Pebbled Path. So my Pebbled Path is slightly darker. So what I'm going to do is use that one for transferring, because it will get slightly lighter when it gets transferred across. So let's put that one to one side for a second. So just make sure that surface is clean. It doesn't matter that this is not see-through. If you've got a silicone mat like a cooking mat, that is perfectly fine to use that as well. So just inking this up. I've got a little bit extra ink there that I don't need, so let's just clear that down. You don't need more than is necessary. So light tapping, sorry if that's slightly off the screen. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just stamp this onto my silicone mat. Okay. Now what you want to do is allow it to sit there for 5 or 10 seconds or so, just so that the ink is transferred, and then lift that up. And if you can see, I've got my little mouse image. Now looking at him, I've missed his little foot. So I'm just going to stamp that again. Okay. So let's ink this up. So this is the darker ink. And let's find a clean bit. The others are, it's just stained, it's not inky, it's just stained. Okay, let's see if I've got the foot this time. I have. Okay, so there is my mouth facing that way. So what I'm going to do now is take my die cut piece, turn it over, okay, and then place that over my image. Now you could measure this out and have it be more accurate. I'm literally going to work out that it's going to be covered in there roughly. And you want to place your card on top and then apply some good pressure, but don't allow that piece to move. Okay, you want to keep that in place. And then when you've applied the pressure, lift it straight up. and that then has transferred our mouse onto that side. Make sure you wipe that surface down, although it should have taken most of the ink. And then I'm going to take my slightly lighter colour and stamp my other mouse. You can do this with the same colour, but I find because you're transferring the ink, obviously it's sort of a generation slightly lighter. So now I can put my other little mouse, make sure he's inked up enough, facing. Like so. And there we go. We've got our two mice looking at each other. Okay, so just to show you that you can do this just on a piece of, I don't need that paper. Let's find a scrap. This one do. Okay, so that was on a silicone mat, but just to show you the same effect, just using a piece of plastic. If I can find a tiny piece. This will do. This is actually a used cellophane bag. So I'm just going to show you can use that in exactly the same way. This is my espresso, so let's grab that pebbled path and I'll just do it again. So this is going left to right, but if you had a tree, for example, you could reflect it top to bottom. Okay, exactly the same process. You're just reversing whether you turn it that way or that way. Hi Trudy. So we're doing some mirror stamping with this cute set where you have two images facing each other. So just to show you can use, I'm just using a cellophane bag. I've got my pebbled path ink and I'm just doing it on this scrap piece here. So I'm inking this up. Now if you have a stamp positioning tool, it's even easier than this, but look, I'm just going to assume that you haven't. So when you place it down, be careful not to move it, otherwise it will just smudge. Okay, and then you can have a look at that. And I've missed his leg again. I think this has got slightly moved around, so let's wipe that. I can't have a legless mouse, can I? Let's be honest. So let's just turn this over so it's not wet. Okay, it's synced up alright. So okay, so straight down, just going to apply a bit more pressure on this right hand side. There we go. So there is my mouse, if you can see that image just about. I'm going to take my card and put it down on this side, straight down, press it down, don't let this move, and lift it up. And there's our mouse facing that way, and then I can just stamp my other one facing it. Like so. Not the best stamping, but I did the job. So just to show you how you can recreate that just with a plastic bag. So let us colour our little mouse in and add the sentiments. I think I've got enough space on the top there just to add a sentiment from the set. So we've got sending a big hug, sending birthday hugs. Let's do sending birthday hugs, but you could do, obviously put an anniversary sentiment in there, would definitely work. Okay, so I just ink that up like so. Pop it on there. Okay, this is my sending birthday hugs, and I'll just do some quick colouring in, and then I'm going to pop this on a base card, and I'm going to use the wood grain stamp to stamp over the background of the card to make it look like there on the wood. So let's just grab, I've got dark and light crumb cake, and I'm going to use red for the little hearts, although I could do two colours. I could do a red and a black, for example. Let's take my glasses off. And just the usual, a little bit of ink added here around the edges. I'm going to add a little bit of pink in the inside of the ear, and the same for this one, like so. Oops. This is little paws. And you can use this even without doing both stamps. If you had, for example, a stamp with a deer on it and it was facing the wrong way, and on your design of card you wanted it to face the opposite direction, you could use this technique without having to do the mirror copy. Okay, let's find a little bit of pink. I've got dark petal pink, that's a good go-to. You could use any of the Pretty in Pink, for example. Just put a little bit on there. There we go. And a little bit on the cheek here. And here. And then I'm going to use the light crumb cake. That is dark, that is dark. This is light. It is. So just applying that alcohol marker with the ink and just going over the area from dark to light with the lighter pen will help blend that in together. Makes it look more natural, less of a dark single line. Okay. You can go over the pink as well if you want to dull that colour down a little bit. Just go over it with a contrasting colour. I'm not giving this mouse a little pink tail, they've got little brown tails. Field mice they are. We get a lot of those in our house, thanks to the cats. Okay, so just colouring that in, and again just blending that over where the join would be. So the one on the right is slightly lighter, so I could have taken a darker colour again, but when you've coloured it in it's less obvious. You could also go over it with a Stamparatus marker or a very fine pen as well. Okay, so there's our two little mice facing each other, like so. I'm definitely going to do one with a red heart. This is Dark Poppy Parade, so I'll do this one here. Really lovely deep poppy red, like so. Shall I do the other one? Yes, I'll do the other one red. There we go. So I've got coffee and card tomorrow afternoon. Looking forward to that. That's 3 till 4, just after 4 o'clock. And then class on Saturday morning in Buckingham. And then I have a team day all day Sunday. So a busy old weekend one way and another. Right, let's grab a background card. Ah, hi Chris. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you are well. It's a coincidence that I should be live, isn't it? So this is Basic Beige. I'm looking, I think, for crumb cake. Yes, because that will then go with my cute little mice. Oh, is that going to fit? Yes. Oh, and the cat's arrived. Okay, squirrel, you're rather in the way. Yes, you are in the way. Come on, out of the way. Sorry about that, folks. This is where you find, yes, he's put a paw print right on my card. Luckily it's at the bottom, so I'm going to turn that into a bit of ground. Ah, dear. What's he like? He has already been fed, I promise. Oh, busy week in a good way. Excellent. Hello, Brenda. Good evening to you. So, to cover up the cat's paw print, I'm just putting this on the bottom. Normally I would just do a little brush stroke, but we have a little bit more that we need to cover up, so I'll just do that there. So this little mouse, I've just done some mirror stamping for those that have just joined us, and showing you how to do that just with a piece of plastic or cellophane or silicone mat, whatever you've got to hand. You could even do it on a block, so you could ink up. I'll just show you as well. You could even just ink up the stamp on the block. Again, just be careful to put it straight down. Okay, and straight up. There's our little image. Not sure if you can see that or not, but I'll put it on here because I'm actually going to stamp on here. Let's put it in the middle. Actually, that works quite well because you can actually see where it's going. So it's a bit lighter because it's a really non-porous surface, but that would work. So that's another way that you can do it. Okay, so I've got my two little mice facing each other, sending birthday hugs, and I'm just going to add this lovely wood grain stamp right the way across here to create a sweet background. Grab a piece of grid paper to put underneath because it's going right the way across. What have I got? Pebbled Path will do. So just inking this up and just going to start at the top, Most of this middle bit will be covered anyway, but this is a lovely wood grain. We've had a few wood grain stamps in the past. If you've got the big, we had a large full background stamp that would have done the whole thing. It's just, so I'm just overlapping this rather than worrying about having it just touching, like so. There we go. So there we've got our wood grain effect. And then we can just pop our little mouse on there. It can go either way actually. Could have it as a card opening from the top or from the side. I'm going to pop that on dimensionals, I think, which are just here. There we go. So I'm just going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that. One in the middle, one in each of the corners. And we are done. Now if I had some, I'm just thinking if I have some baker's twine, I could do a little bow with that. So this is just about the width of that, which is perfect. A little bit to play with on either side, and there we go. I knew there was something sticky on the back of that. Let's take that out of the way. Okay, so there we are. There's our cute little card, sending birthday hugs. So this is the original one. This is the one that I've mirror stamped on the right hand side. So if you wanted to darken it, as I say, you could do, and you could also use a much darker ink. Oh, I've missed a little, I've got a little arm there with no colour. Poor little thing. See that one dark as well. There we go. It's better. And there we have it. Our cute little fun card. So the other images in this set, we've got the two walruses. I think I stamped one out, yes. The two walruses, the badgers, the mouse and the hamster. And then 5 sentiments that go with that. So we've got sending birthday hugs, sending a big hug, so it's there when you need it. I could just hug you. And also with this hamster here, you could get the hamster holding a message. So you could stamp one of the messages and have the hamster holding it. And you could obviously put it with any of those as well. And you've also got these cute little hearts, set of 3 hearts here. Could have put those on there as well if I wanted to. Okay, so there we are. It's short and sweet tonight. I've got I pulled a muscle in my back, which is still giving me a pain, so I have to limit my sitting still for any length of time. So short and sweet for this evening, but I look forward to catching up with some of you for coffee and cards tomorrow. And as I said, I've got spaces at the class in Buckingham on Saturday. That's for the class that's got the birdhouses. I couldn't think of the word. Here's one of the samples. I'll show you. This one here. Although I have changed the colours up a little bit. So some cute little cards at class on Saturday, and then Team Day on Sunday. And tomorrow is the last day to take advantage of the really good joining offer that's on at the moment, which is £130 of products for £99, plus you get £70 worth of new in colours. So that includes all of the inks, the cardstock, the in colour papers, and the in colour Stampin' Write markers. So a really good deal, but that does finish tomorrow, the 31st of May. So thank you everyone, do take care. I hope it stays dry for you wherever you are, and warm, and do look after yourselves and your loved ones. And I look forward to crafting with you either over the next few days, and if not, I'll be back Monday morning at 10 AM for our stamp sale of the week for next week. Thank you so much everyone, have a great evening, and thanks for joining me. Bye for now.